Friday, Saturday, Miami. This is Buy, Sell, Hold Miami, a real estate podcast. Normally done at 4 o'clock on Fridays, but this week we're doing it on Saturdays. And I'm going to give you a PSA about that shortly. I'm Peter Zalewski, condo consultant, expert witness, founder of the Miami Condo Investing Club, joined here by my partner, my co-host, the moderator, Daniel Hernandez over at Compass Real Estate in Coconut Grove. He does single-family houses as well as condos. Daniel, I'm on Cuban time, as they say.
I've been sitting here in this shirt for about 24 hours now. Where have you been? Did you get something done? Your face looks just thinner. What happened? You got a haircut?
Well, this is a PSA for everybody. When you get to a certain age, you got to make sure you take care of the infrastructure. And as a result, I got some anesthesia while they were taking care of the infrastructure. Every 5 years, everybody, every 5 years, you want to avoid something that is unseen. It's unexpected, but it can be detrimental. So make sure you get your colonoscopy, everybody.
Oh,
did mine
colonoscopy. You don't have to get anesthesia to do that. Some people, they actually opt not to do anesthesia.
Well, you know what? I figured in honor of the breakout with the lettuce at Taco Bell that's giving everybody, what it's giving them, I would just go ahead and do it.
They call it the runs,
reason.
Pete. The runs. It's called the runs.
The runs. But I am back. I am ready. I am vibrant, and I feel lighter.
You look lighter. Well, everybody.
Thank you.
This is Buy, Sell, Hold, episode number 61. It is July the 25th, not the 24th, as it says on the thumbnail. And have we got a show for you? So every show we talk about money here. Miami has money, and there's nobody arguing that. But this week we got money coming from Argentina that may not have to be here. We got money that was supposed to come from DC that really never showed up. We got money that people are throwing around on Miami Beach and in West Palm Beach, and then there's other folks who don't have enough of it. So it's all about money. And then at the end, we're just gonna buy, sell, hold, or wait, sit, and watch. So with that, Pete, AFA stands for Argentinians effing around. Or we're not on broadcast television. We can say Argentinians fucking around. Or as they say in Argentina, they might be known to FIFA as Asociación del Fútbol Argentino. And we're talking about them today not because they lost the World Cup, Peter. They couldn't close. Couldn't close.
0 shots on goal.
Zero shots on goal. I'm not a soccer fan or a football fan in particular, but 0 shots on goal. It's kind of rough.
Yeah, for all our Argentinian friends, I like Argentina, but I got to tell you, if this is in fact Lionel Messi, who is the hometown hero in Inter Miami, if he's done with the Argentinian soccer club or football club, I think they're going to be plummeting. I think they're average at best in, the match against Spain. While Spain had some talent and Argentina had to kind of play rough ball, cheap shots, all kinds of bullshit on the side just to keep it close. In the end, Spain ended up winning, and we'll kind of see where it goes from here. But Argentinians love South Florida. They've been coming here forever. We had a big rush of Argentinians come here right after the peso devaluation back in 2001, January 2001. Used to be pegged at $1. It plummeted. Argentina went through a very dark time. A lot of people came to Miami. A lot of them set up shop up there around 71st and Collins. You got a place up there called Manolo's. You have all kinds of freshly made pasta joints. Great eating up there. But apparently, there might be a little bit of shenanigans going on with some of the money.
Oh, and shenanigans there were. Peter, they're under investigation officially. All of this is alleged. We like to say alleged a lot on this show because, we don't want anything bad to happen. But allegedly, and this was broken by an Argentinian newspaper called The Nation, or La Nación, and the Miami Herald picked it up, and they published this just a few weeks ago in July. They have spent something like $300 million through this entity called Tor Prod Enter. So I guess it's like Tor Production Enterprises, LLC. And this organization was responsible for taking care of all the sponsorship money. So, they get from Waterburner's Discovery, they get money from Adidas. And so there was money that flowed through this organization, and they spent it on stuff. They spent it on condos. They spent it on boats. They spent it on private jets. The most interesting line item that I saw in the research was 17 $20,000 payments amounting to $340,000 for and listen, I know Argentinians are very superstitious, but they spent $340K on a spiritual guide.
Wait, what was that? Miss Cleo? Were they calling Miss Cleo?
I'm not going to do the accent. You do the accent. You go up there to Broward. All right, Peter's not going to do the accent.
No, I'm not gonna do the accent. No. Miss Cleo. If anybody doesn't know about Miss Cleo, CNBC, they did a program on it. What the hell's the name of the show with all the scams that go on? It escapes
Greedy
me.
Money.
They actually have one on the Miss. I'll Google it. I'll Google it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, not in the slightest. So these Argentinian folks. $16.5 million in luxury spending. And by the way, the money flowed everywhere. Citibank, Cinevis, Bank of America, JP Morgan, PNC, per La Nación newspaper, of course. And so they were under investigation. By the way, this came off the heels of the Argentinian federal police raiding their offices back in December, along with all of these other soccer clubs, because they allegedly shifted some money around to the tune of $500 and something million.
Wow.
Lot of moolah there. And where they bought their condos, it's interesting because, well, if you watch this show, you probably hear Peter and I talk about Sunny Isles. A lot of these purchases were in Aventura and Sunny Isles, which it's kind of like the next generation of the perestroika folks who came over from the Soviet Union, bought up a lot of Sunny Isles under maybe not so legitimate circumstances. And so this is like the next generation of that.
Next generation of that. But listen, we have a history of all these, especially from Argentina, of people from Argentina, as well as FIFA, taking cash, investing it here in Miami. It goes back, I don't know if you remember, but there was actually a raid of an office over in Miami Beach, FIFA related. I think it was the association that has to do with North America and the Caribbean, where you had a raid there. Now you have this talk going on about what's going on. And by the way, I listened to the report with the reporter who wrote the story for the Miami Herald. So apparently, once Argentina won the World Cup last go around, and they crapped out this go around, they were the most sought after football organization or franchise in the entire world. And as a result, all of the different advertisers want to be involved with them. So they would come offering to try to be the official sponsor, the official this, and all the money was being, according to the Miami Herald reporter who was on WLRN, was talking about how the money was being sent through a third party, which is a group in Miami, and then they were going ahead and they were investing it allegedly, which is what was being talked about. But former presidents of Argentina have been linked to making investments. How they got the cash? Anybody's to guess. A lot of them been going through. One of the big scandals was called the suitcase scandal.
The suitcase scandal.
$800,000 in a suitcase gets kind of hand delivered to a guy called, Nelson Kirchner. He ends up dying in office or shortly thereafter. His wife runs. She wins. She's linked to buying all kinds of properties in Miami. And they're like, how exactly did they get all this cash? So I'm just saying there's a long history of Miami being the destination for maybe some of this money. How it's being collected and if it's being taxed and if it's being cleaned, that's all up for discussion. But there is a long history of money being parked here in Miami.
Well, from what I understand, as long as you pay your taxes, it's okay, right?
Yes, but I think the source or the origins of where it came from is sort of the issue. And let me just give you some details. I pulled up on Gemini AI. It was CONCACAF, which is the organization that oversees North America as well as the Caribbean for soccer. It says during the massive 2015 U.S. Department of Justice and FBI crackdown on FIFA corruption, Miami-based regional headquarters and local figures, and this was all on 5th Street in Miami Beach. If you guys remember where the Burger King was, it's on the south side of 5th Street, right when you come into the beach, when you're coming past the Terminal Island. Shout out to Ken Billions of Citadel, who bought that island, where he's going to put a helipad. But as soon as you came onto South Beach, right-hand side on 5th, there's a little office building, probably about a 5-story building. The feds raided that. That was back in 2015, heavily implicated in multi-million-dollar bribery, Daniel, bribery scheme involving broadcast
FIFA
and
and
marketing
bribery?
rights.
No, I don't believe that for a second.
High-profile Argentine sports marketing figures like Alejandro Berzacco, who was the CEO of Tornios, turned themselves in and cooperated with U.S. prosecutors regarding decades-long kickbacks paid to top South American soccer and FIFA officials. Sounds kind of similar, right? 10 years later, what we're talking about here with the Miami Herald story, doesn't it, Daniel?
Same playbook, different era, it seems like, Peter.
$300 million, though, this time, allegedly.
It's a lot more zeros than 800,000 in a suitcase. Is that how many $100 bills can fit in a, like, what kind of suitcase was it? Like, was it like a rollerboard, or was it a carry-on backpack?
Well, I think on the suitcase. Okay, so let's talk about the suitcase scandal just to kind of bring everybody up to speed on it. And I'm not casting a net over everybody from Argentina, but it's worth being pointed out. So the suitcase scandal, and this would be for some of the old timers who remember this, and this is coming from Wikipedia. Let's see here. 2007, involving Venezuela and Argentina, a souring friendship between the countries. $800,000 in a suitcase was flown in by an Argentinian official using diplomatic immunity, and somehow it ended up and money ultimately get invested. Fast forward a few years later, Mr. Kirchner, former president Nestor Kirchner, he ends up dying. His wife runs for office. She gets elected. Next thing you know, she's buying all kinds of real estate down here. And if memory serves me correct, and I am speculating on this, pure speculation based on my memory, and I'm one day removed from the anesthesia, I want to tell you the site where the CVS is, right there on Cayocho and 12th Avenue, be on the northeast corner. That was one of the sites where this fund tied
Northwest. The building that's now the MDC building.
No, the northeast on 12th Avenue, right at Cayocho. 12th Avenue. It's where the original El Rey's was before it moved down the street. Yeah, there's a big CVS
burned down.
Before it burned down.
I'm doing air quotes for everybody not watching us on video. But Peter, explain something to me, and we've talked about this in the past. The FinCEN geographic targeting orders that really looped in Miami back in 2015, 2016, that really
2016, yep.
2016, it strong-armed the KYC, know your customer laws down here. Hasn't that been rolled out to a more broader geography? Because it was just Manhattan and Miami at the time, right?
It was just Manhattan, Miami, and it was $1 million or more. So everybody, for instance, what the federal government does, I was a reporter, I wrote about some of this stuff, and I'm going off memory here. What the federal government does is they don't have enough resources to do everything. So what they do is they deputize, whether you like it or not, certain industries to be on the lookout for certain things, collect information like a bank. If you make a deposit at a bank for $10,000 or more, if you show up to the bank and nobody does anymore, but it's going to take longer because there's more keystrokes, because that teller you're dealing with is typing up what's called a currency transaction report. It's basically going to be a note. It's going to go into a big database, and the feds can track into it kind of however they want it. So what happened for real estate, if you guys remember after September 11th, one of the things they were trying to crack down on was jewelry business and the real estate business. They never got through to the real estate business, but fast forward 15 years, and the feds come out with this policy coming out of Treasury that basically says if you're buying real estate for $1 million or more and you're not using financing, understand financing is supposed to be the deputy. The banking industry is supposed to know your customer, so this way you can figure it out. So if you're doing an all-cash deal, meaning no financing involved, no due diligence, that's a perfect way to skirt it. That's why they love pre-construction condos. That's why in 2016, 2017, a lot of projects, especially in Sunny Isles, you had people who had deposits down
because there was no financing.
Yeah, and you could do something called smurfing. Smurfing is when you move them in little increments. Pitufo, I think is what they call it.
Oh, like Tony Soprano had the barrels of $9,900 under his backyard.
So the feds cracked down on Manhattan and Miami-Dade County, $1 million or more. They then took it to 300,000. And then I was talking to a title person who does title. Now apparently throughout the entire United States, it's just any all cash deal, certain information. Now there was some pushback. Was the Trump administration going to delay it? Was it not? But that was supposed to kick into place about March or April of this year. So I don't know exactly where it stands. But basically, if you're buying all cash, they're trying to figure out who the hell you are because of money laundering issues. That's how a lot of this stuff is popping up.
So how are these investigations not like caught you red-handed, sort of, so to speak?
That is a very good question. Typically, what happens, at least from what I've seen, developers, let's say if it's pre-construction, they don't necessarily have that same responsibility that a bank does to kind of know who their buyer is. But they are required to have all the information. If you remember back, there was a scandal and some arrest that went down related to PDVSA, which is Petroleum Venezuela.
PDVSA.
And yes, so people were buying condos, and right before the closing, some of the investment bankers who were representing this oil money, which was alleged to be illicit, they were writing to developers in email, "Hey, dude, how are we going to make this happen?" And the developers ultimately participated with the feds, leading to all of these guys entering plea deals.
Did they still get to keep their 1.75% development fee?
That is a good question. But the end of the day, it all goes back to what Billy Corbett and Alfred Spellman told us in a documentary called Cocaine Cowboys. They have a quote in there from a coroner, Miami-Dade County, when everybody was getting killed during the drug wars, talking about how the Miami condos were built on drug money. I'm not saying it's still the same way. People like to play here.
It's a generalization, a rich generalization. That's what we do here. We tell stories. Pete,
but the feds cracked down on it, like you said, 10 years ago.
Argentinians effing around? Is that what that stands for? I think in the context of what we're talking about, it might be the case.
Yeah, I would have to be a buy on it. I don't think Argentina is any different from anywhere else. I mean, what's not to like about Miami? And you want to park some cash. How you get the cash? Real estate people don't necessarily care. They're not required to do anything like banks are. So, what's so bad about it? And the county, the city, and the school board, they make money off of the property tax, 2% of the valuation. So everybody sort of wins.
You're a buy. I'm a buy. Well, that's that. It's settled, allegedly. Mind the gap, Peter. So Redfin released a July report talking about the spread between luxury and non-luxury. Luxury being defined as the top 5% of transactions in any given market, and non-luxury being defined as the middle 35th to 65th percentile. So just like that middle chunk. And Miami is number 2. We're not number 1. We just missed number 1. We just missed out to West Palm Beach. So, We'll give the people up there in West Palm Beach 1, okay? But by a fraction of a little bit, and what this measures is that spread, right? So we're number 2 in that spread between the median price for luxury and then the median price for non-luxury. That's 65th to 35th percentile, and in Miami-Dade County, it's 8.8x, meaning in Miami the median non-luxury home is $554,000. And then the median luxury home is $4.85 million. And just to give everybody a little bit of context on the national level, the national spread there is 3.6x. New York's at 5.5, LA's at 4.9, Portland, Oregon's all the way down there at the bottom at 2.6. Now, I do need to point out that we have kind of a bifurcated market because you have cheaper condos that bring that down, whereas a place like Portland's primarily all single-family homes. But still, that doesn't fill that gap from 2.6 to 8.8. It is a very wide gap, and not so much as even the recent data, but the growth, Peter. So that spread has grown 14% year over year, highest in all the 49 metros that they surveyed for this. That's a lot. And all of that to say, the ultra wealthy don't care. The difference between 4 million and 6 million is 50%, but the difference between 14 million and 16 million is 15%. It's just another couple $1 million. Meh.
Now these are closed transactions, correct?
Closed transactions across single family and condo.
Okay. Yeah, because I wonder, whenever I see some kind of bifurcation like this, to me what always seems to jump out to me is those people who've been sitting on their properties quite some time, and those people who basically are newbies, new to market, and they have to pay a premium in order to get in, versus those who are kind of have a golden handcuff. They're stuck to the place because the mortgage rates are so low. They bought it, they refinanced it, 20, 30, whatever the years ago. Or they're teardowns. Isn't a lot of Miami teardowns? I mean, a lot of the structures standing here, they're not worth anything. It's the dirt, stupid.
Sure.
It's the dirt, stupid, right? Isn't that really what this is all about? So isn't this more of a reflection on land costs or dirt costs more than anything else? There's that famous short seller called Michael, what is it, Burry? The guy who
Big
from the
Short.
Big Short movie?
With the glass eye.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. He just came out with a big report. And anyway, if you guys don't know, he's got a Substack. So go to Substack, look him up. This is a guy from the Big
Like
Short.
$500 a year, dude. No,
yeah, but he'll share some stuff. But he was getting into the housing, and he was talking about really over the course of like 20 or 30 years, you're only making 4.5% on your real estate if you just blend it out annually. But you got these big swings, but it's not the actual structure. It's not the cement,
house
the
depreciates
rebar.
and the land appreciates.
And that's exactly what it is. It's the land, stupid, if you will. So I would almost say, I think, I don't know how it's playing out because they have condos and single family houses together. But if you look at strictly at dirt, I can see why single family houses, they got tailwinds versus condos. They got some serious headwinds, just generally speaking. So I am not surprised by this call. I just don't know if it holds at that level, given that mortgage rates are, they're moving closer to 7%. And there's all kinds of talk about, what's going on globally because of phase 2 or chapter 2 of our little excursion into Straits of Hormuz as well as Iran. Skirmish. That's it. There you go.
Skirmish. Yeah, but I don't really see it stopping. I mean, we have, at least here in Miami-Dade, the influx of folks moving here, and I know there's a net negative migration. We have more people leaving than we have coming, but the people leaving are making $89,000 a year median. The people coming are making about $178,000 a year.
Big difference.
We're big difference. And this, by the way, we're talking about this today, coming off the heels of Google, Sergey Brin, Larry Page, small little search engine. You just use them. Gemini, you contributed to this, Peter. They're going from a 10,000 square foot office space in Brickell to a 45,000 square foot office in Brickell, over there at the JP Morgan 1450 Brickell Avenue.
Well, you need spaces for all those, paddleball courts, and you got to set up the free cereal.
Just
so
paddle.
People are working there.
It's pickleball, and then there's paddle.
No. What's the one with the green table that you fold up, and you're always by a relative?
Ping pong.
And ping pong. There you go. Ping pong. I'm not a big ping pong.
The one that Forrest Gump was really good at.
Yes. 45,000 square feet. What the hell are they going to do with 45,000 square feet? Google.
You fill it with I'm not an office guy. What do you put a full-time employee? How much space do you need for each full-time employee? 150 foot, like 200 square feet?
Yeah, I think it's like, I've always heard like 200 to 250.
Okay, so call it 200. I mean, that's an extra 35,000 square feet. A lot. That's hundreds of employees that all make really good salaries. I mean, what does a janitor at Google make? He's certainly not making $14 Florida minimum wage. And he's got options.
I had a customer I was working with at one point. When I met him, he's like, "Oh yeah, I work at Google," and he told me his employee number. So that's like a big deal. If they tell you what employee number they are.
Peter Zalewski, number 8, Google.
Yeah, I'm sure that guy's retired by now. By the way, he never bought shit, so you wasted my time.
All right, Peter, you mind in the gap? Or you think it's bupkis? I know you can torture data to ultimately say whatever you really want it to say. So What is that Redfin report saying? That Miami's expensive? No shit.
No shit. And it's been expensive, which is the other report saying Miami's more expensive than New York. It's always been if you factored in the salaries. I don't know what the hell people are suddenly acting like this is new. This is shocking. If you're paying the same amount for everything in Miami and New York, but you're getting less of a salary in Miami
And you need a car.
than you are in New York. Yeah. I'm gonna be a hold on this simply because I think this is really a land study more so than or a single family house study rather than the condo side.
We can pull that
side,
data. Why don't we pull that data? Pull it. For the
yeah,
next
because
show.
I think that would be more telling. Because the single family houses, especially if you consider just if you look at it from a land perspective, not the actual structure. The over improvements everybody made. You got to make sure you put the U-shaped driveway on one of these houses. You got to have the fountain, and maybe you got to have like a little Mary.
Don't turn it on though. Don't turn on the fountain. There needs to be like some sort of algae in the fountain. Adds character.
Yes.
You're a hold. I'm a buy. I'm a buy. I think I see there are these companies moving here that not necessarily that they're moving here, but they've already been here in a very limited capacity. And I think that speaks more loudly than, hey, we're moving a company here that's never been here before. So this is somebody who's kind of already tested the waters. They might have 30, 40, 50, 100 employees here. And now they're ratcheting up the volume. And hey, look, it might be expensive here, but they make a lot of money and they can afford it. I mean, these are folks coming in from the Bay Area I'm talking about. Mountain View, which has a view of the mountain, if the name doesn't give it away.
Alta Vista. Remember that search engine?
Angel Fire, Ask Jeeves.
Yeah, listen. One note on this though, Google. What the hell are you thinking? You're going to bring all these employees here. You get a good run of hurricane warnings and tropical storm warnings and losing electricity and all this other stuff. Is that really a prudent move? Or
no, they're only allowed to live in the first 5 floors of any condo building. That's part of their employment contract. Maybe they should write that in.
Yeah, I don't think they fully understand what it takes to run a business in South Florida and what you need in terms of backup as well. Because if stuff goes sideways, Daniel, there's been plenty of storms where, especially people in single-family houses, they are out of electricity for days, if not weeks.
Well, maybe they should pre-lease in Ken Billions' building. You think he's going to have generator backup in there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he will get it up by what year? Do we have an over/under on the year of completion? Why don't we say like 2032?
You want me on record on that? 2032 might be a little far out. I'll give him Q3 of 2030.
2030. Okay. All right.
Q3 2030. I'm gonna take the under. I think it'll be done by Q1 of 2030.
Q1. Okay, so 2030, right there, July 1st.
But who's going to be done first, Santander or Ken?
Oh boy. Hopefully Flagler Street.
You're a hold. I'm a buy. Well, since we're talking about the juxtaposition between the haves and the have-nots, Coconut Grove, little neighborhood. Maybe some people have read about it in the Wall Street Journal because the Wall Street Journal Wall Street Journal loves Coconut Grove. Right? And you got Larry Page, you got King Billions, you got a bunch of people who you don't even know their names buying tens of millions of dollars worth of properties. But what about everybody else? And Albert Milo, who runs Related Urban, George Perez, Nikki Perez, JP Perez, the Perez family, Related Group's development company, the affordable arm of that is called Related Urban. And they have proposed an affordable housing project or a workforce housing project per Live Local. So they said they're going to use Live Local to build a few apartment buildings. They're going to redevelop some apartment buildings that are owned in part of the Miami-Dade Affordable Housing Department. There on the corner of Douglas and US 1. So that southeast corner there, just on the northwest corner of Coconut Grove. What is there now? You got 100 units and 62 units. So 162 units within 2 buildings.
It's like a 4-story building or something, right? Isn't it like senior housing of some sort?
I don't
Definitely
know.
Underutilized.
Is it senior housing? I don't know if it's specifically senior housing, but it's affordable housing, and the plan is to utilize Live Local to build 750 units. And I think this is interesting. The reason why I wanted to put this on the rundown was because just last month, the city of Miami directed the city attorney in a commission meeting to do whatever you can to fight Live Local. And the irony here is not only is this a Live Local project that they're not going to be able to fight because Live Local 4.0 is very, very, very strong pro-developer, but because this lot sits within Miami-Dade County's RTZ zoning. So this doesn't even,
Okay.
the city of Miami won't even have an opportunity to say no to this because this is a county issue.
Okay.
And if I know anything about the county, if I've seen what's gone on with development with the county over the last year or two, they are really pushing this whole workforce housing thing. And I just think it's kind of ironic, kind of tongue-in-cheek, that the city attorney has been directed to fight these things. But sorry, pal, it's not really even up to you.
Well, on the affordable housing, I've told the story before. I was on a panel with Mayor Cava, and she was talking about all this affordable
I was
housing
there.
being built, and I was like,
that's the first time I saw you in
I
person.
was like,
Peter.
why? Yeah, the market's going to play itself out. I think the market still will ultimately play itself out. But I mean, listen, I think there's something here you need to sort of recognize or factor in. Maybe people don't acknowledge this is. During the last go-around, the boom, boom, boom days, when George Perez of the Related Group was kind of running it on his own before his two kids took over, they got jammed up because when the condo market went sideways, they had nothing to do. They had infrastructure, but there was nothing going on. So they tried to get their GC company going. They tried to build some stuff. And ultimately, what they learned, I would argue, as a third party looking in, they learned they need to be diversified. So if you start to see a developer start to really peddle a different product more so than what their real niche is, I think that's a tell as to where the business is going. Because remember, they got infrastructure in place, and you got to keep the machine humming. If you don't get, it's kind of like the oil reserves we're talking about. We got this strategic oil reserve. You can't let it go down to a certain thing, otherwise the whole thing's going to go to shit. When I hear about a project like this, or I hear Related really starting to get involved with workforce housing, yeah, they can do it. It's not the money. I mean, maybe they're making money on fees and other stuff, but the condos are where they're making the money. And if they're going to start suddenly peddling this, that to me is a good tell. Just like a developer coming out and doing a bunch of podcasts is a great tell as to what the market conditions are, and more importantly, what their short to medium term outlook would be. So I'm just going off experience from the last go round when they were scrambling, trying to put get some deals done when it started to unwind.
I do need to point out that this I opened this with the juxtaposition between the haves and the have-nots and the Coconut Grove.
Yes.
But not too many blocks away from where this proposed development is, there are townhomes, new construction townhomes going for $1,000 a square foot. West Grove,
yes.
Some people might call it Little Bahamas, a traditional black neighborhood in the city of Miami, and now it's had this kind of torrent of wealth pushed on it. I'd argue that it's because of the high density of private schools in the district, but this is not a neighborhood that historically had a ton of wealth.
No, which is why right down the street, when a developer was trying to build a place called Merrick Manor, in order to cut a deal to use City of Coral Gables dirt, they had to replace a depot for the trolleys. And they went in that neighborhood and they were able to put it up, and it led to all kinds of findings. University of Miami law students got involved. They did the research. They end up finding a lot of our parks in Miami are all toxic. So they had to do remediation of the parks, talking about how they used to burn all of the trash. There was like a whole thing. Old Smoky. Then HUD got involved up in D.C., Washington, D.C. They got involved because of they took this trolley depot and they stuck it right there next to Aldi's, which is about a block or two down from this site that we're sort of talking about. So this area has sort of been like people use it like the shed. You just put whatever the hell you want, just put it there. Maybe with Related stepping up and the project going up Caddy Corner right by the Milums, maybe this is the next popular area.
That's David, right? It's Martin. Tara.
It's going to be a rental. Yeah, I don't know if he's involved with that one. I know he is at 27th Avenue.
No.
Yeah.
Is that the 13th floor investment guys, or is that Dave Martin?
I don't know who's got that one, the Milam. I know the one on 27th Avenue, Grove Central. That one is David Martin. Yeah, he's
Got
definitely
it.
involved with that one. Yeah, yeah,
Got
yeah.
it.
So
Well,
by the way, Daniel, looks like the one we're talking about, the site is called Stirrup Plaza,
and Magnus Grove,
Stirrup.
that's the other one, right?
Yes, 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 yes. And
I'll
it
pull it.
is a
I'll pull it up for the gang so everybody can see.
yeah, yeah. Just to give people perspective, it's all starting to come together. But traditionally, this was kind of a no-go zone. This was the Little Bahamas. This is where the Goombay Festival goes on every year in June. They close down the streets.
Goombay.
They bring in the Bahamian cultures on display. The crack conch is cooked. It's fried. The music is blasting. The sun is beating down. People are sucking down caliques and all the other beers. Yeah, no, it's a fun historical neighborhood. Because
So it's
remember,
right here,
everybody, the
right?
city of Miami, yeah, there was an ordinance based on your skin color. You couldn't live within a certain distance of the water. And this tended to be where a lot of
No,
the
no, no, no,
Bahamians,
no.
the people who built South Florida, 1920s
Here
land
we
boom,
go.
the
Right here.
late 19th century. Yeah. That's why they ought to take the Coconut Grove Playhouse and create a museum for Little Bahamas. Create it there on that parking lot.
Right
Yeah,
there,
yeah, there
right?
you go. You can see it. Yeah, you see the Aldi's?
Yep.
If you
Yep, yep, yep,
zoom
yep,
in,
yep.
Aldi's would be in the southwest corner ish, southwest ish.
Hold on, my
And then
face
if you
got
were to
really
go,
big on that.
there we go. Yep, that's going to be the Aldi's. All right, and then right across the street is the site we're talking about, Stirrup Plaza, where they would take that down. Nice piece of dirt. Daniel, go a little south. Go towards the bay on there. Zoom back in by Aldi's. Zoom back in. Yep. Now go. Yeah. Now go down that road. Go south. Little bit. Little bit. There you go. Stop right there. Back up. Yeah. Zoom in. Nope. A little bit out. Zoom out a little bit. Right there. See that white
Out,
building?
in, out. Yeah.
Yep. You're going to see a building that looks like nondescript. I want to say that's where the trolley depot was.
Got it.
Which
Got it.
basically, yeah, they just sort of shoehorned it in order to build Merrick Manor over on Lejeune and Bird Road.
Yeah, right next to Coral Gables Public High School.
Yep, and Village of Merrick Park. Yep, all that. Yeah, yeah.
It's,
So that turned into the
it's
whole
right here.
cluster.
That's
Yep,
it.
yep. There you go. There you go. Yeah, and then once the University of Miami law students got involved, they were doing it pro bono. Then the whole thing just like whoo, all kinds of issues came up.
Coconut Grove
But
is.
but but
Tell me.
last point I would make. I'm sorry, I got a lot of energy because I feel a little lighter today. Um, what last point I would make though is this could be. You got to ask yourself: are we going to see a regentrification, much like Overtown is being regentrified? Are we going to see that here in this
I think
particular
we're
area?
already
So that's
seeing it.
definitely something to watch for.
I think we're already seeing it. I mean, you got apartments over here on Grand going for $5 a foot. That means $5,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. On
Woo!
Grand, Peter, on Grand Avenue. Who thought? Grand Avenue's been turning a corner since I was a child.
Yeah. It was always up and coming.
Up and coming. Up and coming. How? Okay, here. I want an over/under for you. How much longer do you think they allow them to do the Goombay Festival before all the hoity-toity people say, "I don't want that here"? That's not what they sound like. They sound much, much worse.
Well, listen. I would propose to Mayor Higgins. Mayor Higgins, if in fact you guys are going to question putting on the Goombay Festival going forward, it should be mandatory that all commissioners voting taste the crack conch before you go ahead and vote on it. Because
What
if
if
you
they
taste that
have?
crack conch,
What if they have a shellfish allergy?
that's all right. I'm sure they got some sort of. You can take a vaccine or some sort of an antibiotic. You'll be fine. You'll be right.
Coconut Grove isn't just for the ultra wealthy. Yeesh.
I'm a sell.
I'm a sell. Yeah, I'm a sell. I know they're trying, but the dirt, it's the land, stupid. You're right. It's
The
too
land's
expensive
stupid.
unless the Live Local is enabling developers, is incentivizing developers to build these higher density projects. Without Live Local, this would never pencil. So I appreciate Live Local in this sense, right?
Yep.
Because you said it yourself, this land is incredibly underutilized. And if it wasn't for
Yep.
Live Local, this kind of project would never get proposed because they know the city of Miami and the hoity-toities in Coconut Grove would never allow for it. Shit, remember the transit station neighborhood development that completely carves out Coconut Grove despite it being within a mile of fixed rail?
100%. 100%. And Daniel, the example of this project, this reminds me of the Wolfson campus, catty corner from the Trump Presidential Library site, where you got this senior housing and they're letting you run into disrepair. So ultimately, and that's what's been alleged. So ultimately, the thing gets torn down and then they can reposition it, just like they're probably going to reposition City Hall.
Is that right here?
Yep, right there. There you go. Yep.
Nobody knows what that is. I'm getting good at flying this map, huh?
Yeah, no, you're a rock star. You ought to be in the Ukraine flying drones.
All right. Coconut Grove isn't just for the ultra wealthy. Neither of us buy that one. This one's a bit of an analogy, a metaphor, what have you. I haven't been in fifth grade in at least 30 years. Bridge over Olive Branch. So Pete, I was a bit behind on my periodicals this week, so I had a few days of Miami Herald to catch up on. I still do get the paper, and I saw that
you get the hard copy.
Yeah, the paper. Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
It's very expensive. It's absurd. It's my contribution to journalistic integrity all over. So Eileen Higgins, City of Miami mayor. Who, by the way, do you remember watching the debate when they had the clown show? Right.
Yes.
And she said, I have clout in DC. I go to DC to advocate for the constituents. Okay. So she went. Many municipal administrators go to DC to try to get federal funds. It's not terribly uncommon. And she went and she came back. She came back with $20 million, Pete.
Hey, all right,
Hey.
La Gringa, well done.
You want to know what it was for?
Tell me.
It was for this, Pete.
The FIFA World Cup?
No, it was for a pedestrian bridge that connects the intermodal terminus there by the airport with you see it there as an unfinished soccer stadium, but the new, and it's very confusing because I feel like I'm being redundant, but it's new stadium, NU. It's the new stadium, which is the home of MLS's Inter Miami, and that stadium sits on this giant commercial real estate development, which is going to be home, by the way, to the new City of Miami City Hall. $20 million pedestrian bridge in a city that needs $20 million can go a long way for a lot of other public work projects that may perhaps be a little more important to the constituents. Something like the giant park under the never-ending Underdeck project. By the way, I've learned that they changed it. It's no longer called the Underdeck. It's going to be called the Heritage Trail. I don't know who's watching what, but they canceled the Underdeck funding from by the federal government. The $60 million that the city was owed for this project because of DEI, and then they changed it to the Heritage Trail to get around DEI? You think that was going to change their minds by changing it from the Underdeck, which everybody, Underdeck, to the Heritage Trail? Anyway, so everyone's up in arms because Christine King, who's the City of Miami commissioner for that district where Overtown is, where the Underdeck and the Signature Bridge runs through, and
yes,
she goes, hey, folks, we had a grant request out to the federal government for this. And you knuckleheads went and asked for this. Peter, we're living in the golden age of interconnectivity, and our administrators can't seem to figure out what a shared calendar looks like. What gives?
Well, I think what gives is what always gives. This is the same reason we don't have a Metro Rail going all the way up to Hard Rock Stadium on 27th Avenue, even though it was talked about forever and ever.
We don't have any of the promised extra lines except for the rapid bus transit, which I don't know how rapid it is. Maybe it's as high speed as a Bright Line at 70 miles an hour.
We also don't have the Bay Link connecting Miami to the beach.
The Bay Link is going to get built after the Saudi Arabians build the line.
Well, I guess they're going to have to get out after the Straits of Hormuz. They need somewhere to go, so maybe they'll come here and build that. But sort of the point I'm making is this has always been the long-standing history in Miami. There's a great divide that goes on, and there's times when everything sort of gets glossed over and it comes together, and there's other times when you got these great divides. And inevitably, if there's a great divide, to the north is probably not going to get it, and to the south is going to get it. Now, what makes this one particularly interesting is that freaking stadium was supposed to be open at the same time the pedestrian bridge opened, just like Mickey Arison and the Miami Heat and Pat Riley were supposed to open up a park right behind the American Airlines Arena or the FTX Stadium or the Kaseya Center.
That looks a whole lot like a parking lot to me.
They always promise this stuff, and let me walk everybody through it. Why is this a big freaking deal? It's a big deal because you take the Metro Rail. What you do is you get on the Metro Rail, you ride it. You can get off at the Miami Intermodal Center where the Tri-Rail comes together with the Metro Rail as well as the airport. And you're supposed to be able to come right out, get on or cross over the street and cross over a bridge, and you're right in the middle of, Beckham Land or Messi Land, whatever you want to call it. And you got a mall, you got stuff like that. It'll cost you money to get in to watch the game on the big screen. If you want to get into the stadium, that's reserved only for the fat cats. So this bridge was supposed to be put in place. And how come Mr. Beckham? How come Mr. Messi? How come Mr. Moss? Why couldn't they pay for this damn thing?
They got Eileen Higgins elected.
This was supposed to be in place by the time the stadium opened. They were rushing to get this stuff done, and they never built the bridge. How much sense did that make? The whole argument to locate the new stadium, NU, named after a Brazilian fintech company, the whole reason to put it here was public transportation, and then you're not going to have a bridge connecting you from the rail station, either Tri-Rail or Metro Rail.
Now they're building the bridge because they weren't responsible enough with their budget to build the bridge as part of their budget. They were, they were building quick, which they are not building quick. Is the signature bridge, the fountain bridge? What else do we call it? Medusa?
The tarantula bridge is what I call it.
The McDonald's French fry bucket bridge.
Yes. But Daniel, if you can zoom in there, show everybody the intermodal, show them the stadium, and show them the route they have to take. There you go. So you see the intermodal. That's on the north side of the river. Yep. So you get off there. You're supposed to walk across, but now you have to come down. You have to hang a right and go west. Go all the way past the old hotel, which is, I think, a Radisson or a Sheraton or something. Once you get past the hotel, you got to make a left, and you got to meander back. Why the hell did they focus so much time and energy on everything else and not putting together the bridge? The same way the Miami Heat didn't build that little park right behind the American Airlines Arena.
Because they're not held accountable to it.
It should have been mandatory. It's the same way Related Group did with the Paraíso project. They were supposed to build this grand park when land was traded and all this stuff. What do we get? We got a small little dog park, and we got some high-end restaurant. What the hell good is that for the neighborhood? When you have 0.5 dogs per building, you got close to, 1,000 units there, and you got no green space. But you do have a very expensive restaurant. There you go. Perfect example. This is another example of the Miami hustle. The developers are taking advantage of it, and all the little peasants, they don't get anything.
What I don't get, Pete, is, Higgins, they came out and said, if we wanted to get federal funds for a project that would, and I'm paraphrasing here, that would help the most constituents, right? The most constituents. Yes. So that's assuming that there's a torrent of folks who are ending up at this intermodal station because so many people are going to go to the Inter-Miami. So many, all the people, the best people are going to go to this. Whereas this Heritage Trail project, which it's now called, would span from this junction here all the way to the bay. May I remind everyone that Michael Simpkins and his partners have a $500 million development lot on this one small parcel here. You got the Club 11 towers. You got, Overtown's here, but
Cabaret, don't call it a strip
condo,
joint.
Don't call it a cabaret. So you do have a ton of people who would benefit from this park. And the reasoning they gave was that this would be better for more people. For more, what?
Well, Daniel, we are in an era of 5D chess. There's a 5D chessboard. So
I don't have 5Ds.
Maybe what's being played out is maybe Mayor Higgins, she's shaking down old man Simpkins, who owns the 11 Cabaret, don't call it a strip joint, and he's trying to unload $500 million of dirt. Make him buck up. Make him pay for it. Maybe the Eileen Higgins is playing La Gringa, the mayor, the first Democrat elected the city of Miami, and a woman. Maybe she's playing 5D chess, and she's trying to get Simpkins to go ahead and dig into that whole bunch of cash he's
Why don't you
generating.
make Georgie Moss dig into it and build his own fucking bridge? Pardon my French.
Well, yeah, but the question is, Jorge Mas and old man Beckham, maybe they're contributing to the mayor's mayor's future.
No,
yeah, you don't know where the donations are going.
She only raised 10 times more than Emilio Gonzalez, her competitor from developers.
Interesting.
But there are also, my whole point is that there's also developers downtown, right?
Yeah, but you're forgetting the history of Miami. You're forgetting we had the McDuffie riots. You're forgetting this Great Divide. You're forgetting that the Metro Rail was supposed to go to the Broward County line and hit places that today are called Miami Gardens. That those train tracks. Even Mayor Cava, when World Cup was announced that it was coming here. Remember, we had it 6 weeks. We had 7 matches. She was talking about pushing forward the Metro Rail with a station going directly to Hard Rock. It would have gone through Opelika. It would have gone through Miami Gardens.
Beautiful.
It would have gone through some. Yeah, it would have been tremendous. And think about the real estate development that could have occurred there.
So
but when push comes,
where's all the money that they got for that? For the half penny tax? Weren't that supposed to be the half penny tax that passed about 20 years ago? What did they have to show for it?
Well, they had to shore up the pensions. They had to buy new buses.
Oh.
And they had to give people raises, and then whatever was left over. But listen, when it comes down to it, if it's North versus South, the South's always getting it. The North is never getting it, and that's the Great Divide that still exists in Miami.
Bridge over Olive Branch, Peach, buy, sell, hold.
Bridge over Olive Branch. I'm torn on this. I got to be a hold because Eileen Higgins is playing 5D chess and she's trying to hit old man Simpkins up to dig into that wallet, some of that money from that cabaret, don't call it a strip joint, called 11, and have him pay for the Heritage Trail. But hey, maybe the Heritage Trail could be sponsored by 11. There's an idea.
That would be, what's the word I'm looking for? Ironic. There's plenty of heritage and culture at Club 11. Don't call it a strip club. Okay, you're a hold. I'm going to hold with you there, Pete. Well, since we're talking about the city of Miami, we'll just stick with it. Safe and ready, buy now, pay $800 million later. And this alludes to, we're talking about Higgins again. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. So about a month or two ago, Eileen Higgins goes to the commission and says, I need more money. $450 million bond she proposed. Not surprisingly, Christine King, commissioner from the Overtown district that did not get the federal funding for the Underdeck Heritage Trail project, voted against it. Damian Pardo also voted against it 3-2. Yay. And now this is going to referendum. The constituents will have to vote to determine whether or not the city of Miami will be putting out a $450 million bond. What is this bond for? The bond is going to be for public safety. Apparently we got old fire stations, a leaky police station, and they need more. $450 million more to be exact, Pete. And I was curious about this because I wanted to know how far along we are paying off the last bond we put out there in 2017. And I was disappointed but not surprised. So as of January 2026 commission presentation, CFO Erica Paschal said roughly $127 million of the authorized $400 million still hadn't been issued. So call it about $273 million borrowed, $127 million on the shelf. Why don't we just use that money? Why do we need to issue a new bond? Why do we? Interest rates seem to be pretty high.
I would just assume because the money's already been earmarked, it's only probably on a certain source. I'm speculating here. I do not know for sure.
Is this something that it's been likened to putting it out on the taxpayer's credit card? You know, we're in a situation in the city where folks are coming out, and transparency, we're as transparent as ever. Despite as pissed off as everybody is, the city of Miami has their payroll totally on an Excel spreadsheet. I think Miami Beach followed suit, so we know how much everybody's getting paid. We know where the money's going, I think. But there are some curious things. Like one, for instance, this past week, we were talking about going to Washington to lobby to advocate for the constituents down here. So there was a planned trip to Washington, D.C., Pete. I think 20 or 30 folks from the administration, the local administration, was supposed to go up there. And then they canceled the trip, Peter, because they felt that they needed to be here. Danielle Levine-Cava and her entourage felt they needed to be here because they were going to announce the indictment of Raul Castro. And the spokespeople from the county came out and said they were scared of potential political unrest. Pete, my family's Cuban American. I didn't even know this was happening. Political unrest, $32,000 non-refundable trip to Washington, D.C. That's what they're doing with taxpayer money. So how can you expect constituents to vote for a $450 million bond if you're buying non-refundable plane tickets and hotels for administrators? Did they really need 20 to 30 people to go up there anyway?
Next time, buy the insurance or pay extra for the ticket so you can reschedule it. All right, listen. There's a lot to get into here. So first and foremost, I'm running it through AI. Credit to Gemini. So we got the election coming up. You're going to have the referendum. So I asked about the $450 million. What's it collateralized against? Because typically what happens is when you go and you build a stadium or something, you're going to hit the tourist. You're going to hit that person coming in from out of town, whatever. And according to what AI is saying, it's going to be coming off of property taxes. This is going to be carved out and be paid for with property tax money. That's interesting.
So on the same ballot where we're canceling property taxes, we're asking for money that's going to be paid by property taxes?
But I guess maybe not homesteaded people, right under the current proposal, $250,000 rather than $50. I mean, it's confuted as hell. But I would have thought, I mean, listen, here's an idea. I got a couple ideas. So we got this Inter Miami Stadium where Mayor Higgins just got the bridge for. We're moving City Hall there. We're giving up Dinner Key. Who knows what they're going to put up there? Hopefully, my vote is that they put like
it's going to be a Hillstone.
Or it should be like a Taco Bell. I like the Taco Bell KFC combo.
Don't get the lettuce.
It'd be perfect. Do not get the lettuce. If you want to have that experience, do like I do, PSA. Make sure you do it every 5 years after you get to a certain age. But here's kind of where I'm going with this. Daniel, this $450 million, apparently $300 million is going towards the police headquarters. What the hell is the city of Miami doing in greater downtown Miami? All that area is getting retrofitted. Why don't they put it out by Inter Miami Stadium? We got plenty of dirt out there. It's the old Mel Reese. Why don't they build it, not sell that thing off for cash, sell it to some developer. I'm sure somebody will buy the dirt, move it all, put it all together right there, and then you got close access to TGK, which is Turner Guilford Knight. Why don't they dump the dirt, skip the bond, sell off City Hall? Sell off City Hall too. That's what they're going to do. But sell off the police station, moving out there. And apparently, $150 is going to go to renovate deteriorating fire rescue stations. $300 for a police headquarters improvement. What the hell do we need?
That's a really nice police headquarters, my man.
It is underutilized. How many stories is it? 4 stories? 5 stories? Why do they have to be in downtown Miami? Why? There's no reason. Get them a little substation. Or do a deal like many developers do, like the churches do. The church will sell the dirt to a developer, and the developer will carve out some space. Why doesn't the city of Miami do that? Hawk the dirt, sell it to somebody else. City of Miami Police State Department does not have to be there. They could be out at Mel Reese. They could be with everybody who's going to Inter Miami matches at the new stadium. They can all use the bridge. They can take the tri-rail everything would come together brilliantly, and we don't have to raise money in the bond. And according to AI, the impact ultimately of this $450 million safety bond is going to work out. It'll pencil out at the end of the term $800 million, basically $120 per year in property taxes for the average household in order to get this done. When you got downtown Miami dirt, where the city of Miami police station is, hawk that thing off,
The land,
sell it,
stupid.
it. Yeah, it's a land, stupid.
We're just gonna hammer it.
Sounds like a boondoggle. Sounds like a boondoggle in the works.
I am a tremendous sell. I think we might even have time in the clock. I don't need the no, we don't have any more time in the clock. We are in overtime on that one, but I am a hard pound the table sell on that.
I would be too.
Well, I don't live in City of Miami, so I'm not voting for it. You live in City of Miami.
I am in the city of Miami, yep, and I will definitely be voted. Let's see if they move me again. The last election, they put me in a different district.
Were they going to put you in Coral Gables?
I don't know. Last time, though. I mean, the election period that, the doors were getting ready to shut, and I had to run from one place
gerrymandered Peter out of the city of Miami.
Well, I'm sure a lot of developers would love to gerrymander me out of the city of Miami as well.
I'm a sell, you're a sell. Folks, this was a first time ever buy, sell, hold Saturday special. We do endeavor to really do this every Friday at 4, but as Peter mentioned, there are some health concerns that we just need to take care about every so often. I would have been super happy to have Peter on the show yesterday, given the circumstances, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers and listeners would have been happy to have him on too. But
with that anesthesia, I can just imagine what I would say.
So we will see you all again in 6 days and not 7, next Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on all of your favorite and, well, maybe addictive, arguably, social media platforms. That's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Substack. Did I say LinkedIn? Thanks, folks.
You did not
see you all
say
next
LinkedIn.
week.